Hey everybody, welcome back to H4G. I'm Tony, and today we're talking about what I found on my Satellaview memory pack. Now you might be familiar with the Satellaview, you might not be, so I'm going to give a brief rundown of what it is. The Satellaview was an add-on for the Super Famicom, the Japanese version of the Super Nintendo, in Japan. Basically, this add-on allowed you to receive broadcasts via satellite to your device that you could download. And there was all sorts of content, including games and e-magazines and tips and tricks and all sorts of stuff. Now, most famously, Nintendo developed games that users could download, store, and play on these cartridges right here. They had 8 megabits of storage. For reference, Super Mario World was 4 megabits. Link to the Past was 8. Secret of Mana was 16. Chrono Trigger was 32. Star Ocean was 48. Kind of gives you a reference. So not a ton of space as far as the Super Famicom, Super Nintendo goes, but a reasonable amount of space. And as far as today's storage goes, these are like nothing. There's like barely anything on this. A lot of games actually made it to the Satellaview and were downloaded. We got sort of a semi-pseudo sequel to Chrono Trigger known as Radical Dreamers. Zelda spin-off titles and semi-sequels. A remixed pseudo-sequel to F-Zero. All available if you signed up for this service and tuned in at the right time. You know, like a radio broadcast that you could download. In fact, we actually, on H4G, reviewed one of the sequels to F-Zero years ago. You can click the little card above. You're gonna love my hair in this. It's pretty embarrassing, actually. It's pretty bad. It's really before I did anything with it. Thank God for my wife. Some of these games have been recovered via these memory packs, some of them haven't. Hundreds of like mini magazines, e-magazines, and info basically that were broadcast either by Nintendo or their partner in the Satellaview, St. Giga, is just lost to time and completely undocumented. Maybe someone would like download them, read them, and delete to make room for games, right? Because what would you rather have if you were a subscriber? A bunch of e-magazines or a game? Game, right? Obviously. So, you know, it just kind of, there's this weird undocumented history of the Satellaview that we don't really even know everything that was broadcast, right? And it gets even stranger because Nintendo kind of abandoned the Satellaview after a while, and their partner St. Giga kept it going, both with rebroadcasts, but also some original content in terms of those e-magazines. So it's possible that Nintendo doesn't even have an archive of everything because St. Giga did some of the work. That brings us to what we have today. Years ago, I wanted to do a full expose on the Satellaview. I thought it was really cool, and so I got this and I plugged it in and promptly deleted everything because I was an idiot and at the time had no idea what I was doing, just to be honest. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, like, what have I done? And I just quit the project, left it alone, never did anything on this Satellaview, as far as like an overview. Now here's the menu patched for English, and here it is in Japanese. So you could see here how I would basically just scroll down and click a button, hoping to find more content, but instead I just wiped everything. So I mentioned that in a video, and Luigi Blood said, hey, it might not actually be deleted. He said, on the Satellaview, it doesn't really delete stuff. And I believe what it does is it just marks it as rewritable space. So it doesn't really get deleted truly until you override it. I dumped it, and he took a look at it and was able to recover it. And what I saw was exactly what I remembered. This weird, almost looks like a boy band e-magazine, and also like a Chrono Trigger like tips and tricks e-magazine. It is pretty cool. I always, if I have anything rare or prototype or valuable or something like this, I've learned that you're supposed to dump the contents first, then boot it and get the full menu and everything translated before you press anything. It's been a number of years since this occurred, and I've definitely learned a lot since making my mistake. So I sent this over to Source Gaming to translate it, and they did an excellent job. I just want to give a big shout out to them. Thank you so much for doing that. Now I'm going to read the translation here, but I do want you to keep in mind that this is translated from Japanese. So it might not be indicative of the English localization, and it might not be indicative of the re-releases of Chrono Trigger. So on the first menu page here, we have a couple different options. I have AK Live, which is that other magazine that I had. And then the one on the bottom that you can see here that I'm highlighting and selecting says Chrono Trigger Information number 5. What a very riveting title. At the very top, we have Game Tiger, the name of the magazine. Then below it, Chrono Trigger Classified Information Volume 5. And then the top selection says, A Hidden Room in Anhasa. And I might be pronouncing that place incorrectly. The second option here, which I'm not going to select just yet, says The Secret Triple Tech Black Rock. In the later versions of Chrono Trigger, this was known as the Black Gemstone. So again, just another kind of difference if you're more used to the later versions versus the SNES version. It may kind of make you scratch your head a little bit. In Anhasa, there are 3 books which hold magical power. Open the books, starting with the upper right, then upper left, and finally the bottom to open a secret door. Then challenge the new inside. If you win the battle, the new will give you a magic tab and a speed tab. The second option, the Secret Triple Tech Black Rock. In Kajar as well, open the magic books starting from the upper left. Then the bottom, then the middle of the room, and a secret door will open. Then investigate the doll in the middle of the room to get the Secret Triple Tech Black Rock. At the very top it says, there's more classified information coming tomorrow. Again, another broadcast. The mini-games that follow will also be packed with classified information. There's also character illustrations and a music library. And the last bit there just references other content that's a little bit better known that was released for Chrono Trigger on Satellaview. And the bottom options here are just normal Satellaview options. Head outside the building, which the building is like the menu, so we are in a town and you walk into the building and it becomes a menu, or return to the front page. Now, is this a huge, crazy, amazing find? Like, no. I mean, I'd like to lie to you and say yes, it is, but it's not like a game. You know, it's not like I found a full game that was undiscovered. But it is a piece of the history that was unknown or unarchived previously. So I do think that it's important in that respect, that it's just a little piece of like a much larger puzzle that we can hopefully start putting together. And I'm glad that it's been discovered and preserved. So thank you again for watching, and if you like this type of content, we definitely have plenty more, but I also want to recommend Source Gaming's YouTube channel and also Luigi Blood's Twitter. There's all sorts of goings-ons regarding translations and rare games and Nintendo 64 DD stuff on both of those, and definitely check them out. And both of them were absolutely instrumental in the recovering and translating of this piece. If you're interested in more information on the Satellaview, I'll put a couple links in the description below. I really just kind of scratched the surface on this. There's a lot of info out there, but for the sake of time, I kind of kept it pretty simple. So I definitely encourage everyone to keep learning about the Satellaview, and hell, I'll probably do another video on it at some point as well. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a share, and we will see you guys next time.